ഇതില് കാണിക്കുന്നുണ്ടെന്ന് തോന്നുന്നു. ലൈക്ക്
ഓക്കെ, റെഡി അല്ലേ?
ആവുന്നുണ്ടെന്ന് തോന്നുന്നു.
റെക്കോർഡിംഗ് അല്ലേ ചേച്ചി?
റെക്കോർഡ് ലൈക്ക് ക്ലൗഡില് സിമ്പിൾ കാണിക്കുന്നുണ്ട് റെക്കോർഡ് ആവുന്നത്.
ഓക്കെ ഓക്കെ, ഫൈൻ ഫൈൻ ഫൈൻ.
ആ പാർട്ടിസിപ്പൻസിന്റെ അവിടെ ഒരു ക്ലൗഡ് നിന്റെ ഐക്കന്റെ സൈഡിൽ കാണാനല്ലേ?
ഉണ്ട്, കാണിക്കുന്നുണ്ട്.
അപ്പം ആവുന്നുണ്ടായിരിക്കും.
ഓക്കെ, അപ്പം ഞാൻ പാർട്ടിസിപ്പൻസിനെ എനിക്ക് ലെറ്റ് ഇൻ ചെയ്യണം.
എനിക്ക് ലൈക്ക് മെയില് വരാറുണ്ട്.
എന്തോ?
അല്ലെങ്കിൽ എനിക്ക് മെയില് വരാറുണ്ട്. ഞാൻ ലൈക്ക് സംഭവം കഴിഞ്ഞ് കഴിയുമ്പോ മെയിൽ അയക്കാം. അല്ലെങ്കിൽ
അത് മതി, കുഴപ്പമില്ല ചേച്ചി. മറ്റേ ഈ പാർട്ടിസിപ്പൻസിന് ഞാൻ ലെറ്റ് ഇൻ ചെയ്യേണ്ട ആവശ്യമൊന്നുമില്ല, അവർക്ക് തന്നെ കയറത്തില്ലേ?
അതെല്ലോ, വെയിറ്റിംഗ് റൂം നമ്മള് കൊടുത്തില്ലല്ലോ.
ഡിസേബിൾ ചെയ്തേക്കുന്നു. ഓക്കെ ഫൈൻ. ഓക്കെ, വേറെ ഒന്നുമില്ല ചേച്ചി, താങ്ക്സ്. ഇപ്പം പരിപാടി തുടങ്ങാൻ പോവാ.
ഓക്കെ ശരി, ഞാൻ ലെഫ്റ്റ് ചെയ്തോട്ടെ.
ഓക്കെ ചേച്ചി, സീനൊന്നുമില്ല, താങ്ക്സ്. Yeah, cool. Ashwin, we can share the links right now.
Okay, I'll share the links in both the groups.
Cool.
ഹലോ ആന്റണി.
ഹലോ സർ.
കേൾക്കാമല്ലോ?
കേൾക്കാം. നമ്മളിപ്പം പാർട്ടിസിപ്പൻസിനും ജസ്റ്റ് ഒന്ന് ലിങ്ക് സെൻഡ് ചെയ്തിട്ടുള്ള അവരിപ്പോൾ ജോയിൻ ചെയ്യുവേ.
ഓക്കെ ഫൈൻ. ആക്ച്വലി ലിങ്ക് ആൻഡ്രോയിഡ് എന്നുള്ളതിനകത്തൊരു ചെറിയ സ്പെല്ലിംഗ് മിസ്റ്റേക്ക് ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നു. ഞാൻ ആദ്യം അടിച്ചപ്പോൾ കയറിയില്ല. ആൻഡ്രോയിഡ് എന്നല്ലാതെ അതിലൊരു സ്പെല്ലിംഗ് മിസ്റ്റേക്ക്.
ഓഹോ, സോറി സാർ.
അങ്ങോട്ട് മാറിപ്പോയി. അതെ,
ഓക്കെ. അടുത്ത ലിങ്കിൽ ശരിയാക്കിയോളാം. നിങ്ങളെ ശ്രദ്ധിച്ചില്ല.
ആരെങ്കിലും ടൈപ്പ് ചെയ്ത് കയറുന്നുണ്ടോ എന്നുള്ളതാണ്.
ഓക്കെ സാർ, താങ്ക് യു. Sir, we'll wait a few more minutes for all the participants to join in.
Yeah. Okay, fine.
Okay, I guess we can start right now. The others will be joining shortly. So hello everyone. Welcome to today's session. Today we're going to be covering the advanced track of Android study jams. And with us as our esteemed speaker today is Mr. Vishnu Haridas. He is an associate architect at Qburst, and he is a Kotlin and Flutter enthusiast. So I won't be taking your time any longer. Sir, please take it away.
Hey everyone. Thank you, Alex. Yeah, I think we can start. Okay, so thanks for the introduction. So as he said, I'm actually working as an associate architect at Cubist. I have been working on Android projects since Android 2.0 was released long ago. So since then, there has been a very drastic change. Usually in 2 or 3 years, there will be a huge change happening in the development arena. And now everything has shifted to mobile. More people are now using mobile. So there's a high chance for jobs related to mobile development. It can be Android development, iOS development, and cross-platform development. So I'll be actually covering from where you left in the last week. So let me share my screen first. Okay. Andy, can you allow me to share my screen?
Yes, sir, one second.
Yeah. Okay. I don't want to start the video. I just want to share the screen.
Yes, sir, one second. I'm just.
Yeah.
Can you try now, sir?
Let me. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Can you see my screen now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Fantastic. Okay. Okay. So this session will be actually covering Android, some few of the Android development techniques for people with prior programming experience. So when I mean prior programming experience, that doesn't mean that you have to know advanced things. If you know basic programming, then that's fine. So if you have attended the previous sessions by Pankaj, then that is more than enough. Okay, so let's move on. So in previous sessions, there was an introduction to Kotlin and some Kotlin structure constructs were discussed in that session, and introduction to Android project structure was there, where you discussed about the folder structure, which all files are placed in which all folders, things like that. And you had a very minimal introduction to XML layouts, where you created dice and you added a button there with the constraint layouts, and you had a minimal coding experience where you rolled the dice. So in this weekend, actually, I'm planning to build an app with 3 functionalities. One is a hello world app, a hello greeting app, which will ask the user to enter the user's name, and we will access that data and will show a message to the user. After that, we will work on a simple calculator, which will allow us to add 2 numbers or multiply 2 numbers. You know the thing actually. Yeah. After that, we will work on a very small movie recommendation app. Okay. So this is when you complete this session, you will actually learn a few of the things that I pointed here. You will learn about constraint layout, linear layout. Then you will learn about edit text, text view, button. These are the components that are used in the UI. And you will access the UI in code, and you will modify the UI. Okay. So this is what I'm planning. We will design a study jump app, and we will have 3 buttons there. One is the hello world example button, a calculator button, a movie recommendation example button, and upon clicking each of these buttons, we will start a screen with that functionality. So this will start a hello world screen with the functionality. that I just discussed. This will start a calculator screen, and the movie recommendation example screen will start a new screen, which will recommend you some movies, some random movies. Okay. So this is the plan that I have for the Hello World screen. So basically you will have a text box here and a button. And if you have not entered your name, then it will just show hello guest. If you have enter some name and when you click the greet user button, it will print out a message like hello Alice. So this is actually very basic program, a very basic app with a minimal functionality. This is only to introduce you to how we are building layouts and how we are accessing data from the layout. Okay, so let's start. Okay, so this is my Android Studio. I'm going to start with a new project. Okay, I will start with an empty activity. So I think you went through the steps in the previous session. Okay, I will name the app as Study Jam app. Okay, and package name is something very interesting. So when you're designing an application, you have to select the package name. Package name is basically something that you will use to identify the app. Let me show you the example. Play.google.com. Yeah. When you go to the Play Store and you open one app, for example, I'm opening Facebook. Okay. So if you look at the address bar, you will see one ID here. So this is actually the package name when you are selecting the project. So that is what you give in this field. So this is basically basically an identifier for your app. You cannot use something that is already there. If you're going to publish the app, this has to be unique. It should not be existing already. So let's go and see what is actually happening here. So the ID here is com.facebook.katana. I think you can see this. Okay. Let's see what is happening with other apps. So let me open YouTube. Okay. So if you look at the ID of the YouTube, it is com.google.android.youtube. So there is a format, the universally accepted format here. It is actually the reverse of the website that you own, and then the package name or the application specific name. Let us go to the other apps published by Facebook. Okay. So this is actually using the ID just we saw com.facebook.katana. Then yeah, let me take the Messenger app. Okay, it is actually showing com.facebook.org. So it is basically com.facebook then dot some app name. So that is the format that you have to follow in this case. In this case, I'm going to use in.ac.cet.studyjam app. Okay, so I think cet.ac.in is the website of CET. So that's why I'm using that. Okay, so I'm going to use Kotlin. That is normal. Okay, everything is fine. I'm going to support it from Marshmallow. That's up to you. Based on the audience of your app, you have to decide on that. So if you are thinking that your app is going to be used by people who are still using Android Lollipop, then you have to choose from. You have to support from Lollipop. So if you're thinking that your app is something like something which is being used by people who are having latest devices, then you can actually support from Android 8. That's up to you. Okay, I'm going to support from Android 5.0 now. Okay. Yeah, that's it. So now you have the project ready. Okay. Now you have a main activity, which is the starting screen of the application, and a layout file, which will just show the content of that screen. Okay, let's run this app. Meanwhile, I will start my device. This is actually my on Moto G5 phone. I'm sharing my screen to desktop. This is my real device actually. Yeah, let me hold on. Yeah, this is my real device. Okay, so let me run the app now. So the build is going on, and let's wait for the app to run. I will keep this window always on top. Yeah, this is it. So we are actually seeing this main activity now. So main activity is having a content view or the layout, which is activity underscore main.xml. This is the layout which is being displayed now. Okay, the toolbar is already there because the theme that we chose has a toolbar predefined, so we don't have to worry about the toolbar. Toolbar means the title bar. We have to worry about the content. That's it. So now it is actually having a hello world text. That's what we see here. Okay, now back to the slides. So what we are planning is to build this something like this. Okay, so we want to place 3 buttons in the layout: hello world example, calculator example, and movie recommendation. That's it. So let's start. Let me close other tabs because Chrome will eat all the memory. Okay, I'm going to delete this. I'm going to delete the content. Okay, now this is a constraint layout. I think you had a very minimal introduction on constraint layouts in the previous session. So let me start. I'm going to add 3 buttons here. Button 1, okay. Button 1 is hello world example. Okay, so let me change the text here. Where is the text? Yeah, hello world example. Okay, now I have to set it in the middle of the screen. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to set the constraints to the left and to the right so that the button will be staying in the middle. Okay, now I have to connect this button somewhere to the top. Okay, I'm connecting to the top, but I have to add some margin to the top. Okay, so let's go and select the button, go, and here we can add some margin, 32. Yeah, or I will add 64. Yeah, this is it. And you have to assign some ID as well. So this is the ID. So ID is to distinguish between various elements in the UI. So button, I will give a meaningful name here. Okay. So before that, let me show you this actual code behind this. This is actually XML layout. This is a graphical editor. If you look at the code, you can see this. If you split, then you can actually see the code and the design side by side. Okay. So these are the things that we changed there. We just changed the hello world example from the toolbar there. So from the graphical editor, then we can do the same from here as well. So you can see that it will be changing here as well. So the graphical editor is actually a tool that will help you to easily do things instead of editing all the XML files. You can choose whichever you like. That's not a problem. Okay, let's put back to hello world example. And I'm going to change the IDS BTN hello world. Okay, so that it will be very easy to distinguish. Okay, now I'm going to add one more button there. I'm going to use design graphical editor because I find it very easy to use that. You can choose graphical or the XML way. Okay. Okay. Yeah. I have to connect this button to some other UI elements. So otherwise it will be like it will be standard, like standard. It will be running away in the screen, running in all other places. So I have to add a constraint and connect it to somewhere. So I connect it to the previous button. I will connect the left side to the end of the screen and right side to the right end of the screen, and I have to add a margin here on the top of that button. I will add 32. Now 16 will be good. Okay. Now let's edit this button from XML. Okay. So now you have the second button. Okay. Button 2. I will. What is the name of that button? What should be it? It should be a calculator. Okay. So I will change that to BTN calculator. Text should be calculator screen. Yeah, calculator example is good. Okay. Now let me add one more. So let me add one more button from the XML layout. Right? XML. Okay. Button. Okay. Width should be wrap content, and height should be wrap content. Okay. So you can see I don't have any constraints here. That's why the button is sticking in the 0 position, top left. Okay, now let's give the text. Text should be cinema recommendation. What was the button? Movie recommendation example. Yeah. Yeah, now I have to position that button somewhere in the constraint layout. So what I'm planning is to place the button below this calculator example. Yeah, before that, let me give an ID. ID should be BTN movie. This is fine. Okay. Okay. So the top constraint of the button movie should be attached to the bottom of calculator. So I can give that like this. Layout constraint top to the bottom of top to no top bottom of let me choose calculator. Now you can see I can do the same thing using the graphical editor very easily. Click and drag and drop. That's it. So I can do the same thing from the XML editor as well. So I'm just showing you. You can do the same thing. That's it. And I have to align this button. The right should be aligned to the right of the parent. The left should be constrained to the left of the parent. So let me add that now. Layout constraint left to the left of instead of left you have to give start to start of parent. Okay, now now the left is start is actually constrained to the parent. Parent means the parent constraint layout. Then right should be to the right. So again, layout constraint right, not right, end to the end of parent. See, you can see that. Okay, now I just want to add a margin on top. Okay, I'm going to add margin top. Layout margin top is 32, no 16. See, this is how you do things. This is how you do add new elements. So these are actually buttons. You can add any from there. You have a good palette of all the controls there. You have button, image view, recycler view. These are actually advanced things. For text, you can have plain text, password, email, phone, things are there. For button, you have button chip, radio group, radio button, things are there. So yeah, Here is a toggle button. Here is a switch. Yeah. Okay. So now let's move on to the code. Okay. Now we have designed the layout. This is actually fine. Okay. Let me run the code again. Let me show you the simulator. No, not simulator, my actual device. And let me run the code again. Yeah, that's running fine. Okay. So I can click on that, but nothing will happen because I didn't write any action for that. This is only the layout part only. So next, let's write the action part there. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is when I'm clicking on the button, I'm just going to show a toast. Toast is something which you see on the middle of the screen, something like error, there is no connection, or successfully deleted, things like that. Okay. Now I will show you how to access this button to the code, the Kotlin code that you are writing. Okay. Now let me check the IDs. Okay, this is having the ID btn hello world. This button has the ID btn calculator. So this button has the ID btn movie. Okay, so let's declare 3 buttons here. Okay, val btn hello world hello equal to find view by ID button. ID dot btn hello. Okay, so this is how you access the button. Now you have button button from the XML in your variable in your Kotlin code. Now you can add a click listener like this btn hello dot set on click. Let me click listener. Okay, this is how you add a click listener. I'm going to show a message now. Toast dot make text. It has 3 parameters. Okay, this is I will tell you what is happening here. So first let me run the code and then tell you what is happening here. It will be good. Yeah. So button hello is accessed here using the find view by ID function. And r.id.btn hello world is the ID that I used in the XML file. Then when I call this function will actually return the button that is in the XML. That is now assigned to a variable here. Now on that button, I'm setting a click listener, and when I'm clicking it, I will show a toast. This is a toast. And most of the application, you will see this thing. This thing will come up and go, disappear. You cannot click on that. Yeah. Okay. So for example, when you save a Gmail draft, then it will show a message like draft saved. Or when you delete something, it will just show a message like deleted. So this is a toast. So this is actually the line of code to create a toast. Toast.make text. Then you have to pass the current activity. Then you have to pass the message. Then you have to give the length. Whether it has to be displayed for a short period or a long period. Then you have to call the show function. That's it. Okay. Yeah. Now let's move on. Let's create another screen. Okay, the hello world screen. So as we discussed, I'm going to plan a screen like this. Okay. So when you click on the hello world button, it will start the hello world screen, which is a new screen, entirely a new activity. And inside that activity, you will have a text box. It is called the edit text, and a button, then a text view. Okay. When you enter the name and click here, it will show you the message like this. If you enter the name, it will show hello name. Okay. First, we have to add a new screen here because this is a main activity. Let me go back to the IDE. So this is the main activity, and uh, this is a XML layout that is used. So these are actually used only for this particular screen. When you are going to add a new screen, you have to add a new activity. So activity is basically a screen that is being displayed on the phone. You can relate that with the web page. So if you go to google.com, that is an activity. If you go to a next page, that is a new activity. So you can compare like that. You can go to other activities, and you can click back button to get to the previous activity, just like you navigate the web pages. Okay. Yeah, now let me add a new activity, and when I add a new activity, I have to start the screen here. Start the new screen here. Okay, so this is a task that we have to do. Okay, now this is how I add a new activity. So this is a folder where the main activity is stored. I go and right click, create new, the new empty activity. I will name that as hello world activity. Hello world activity. Yeah, this is fine. So when I create a hello world activity, it will create a Kotlin file for me. That is the file that we see here for the main activity. So very similar to that, we will see a new file now, hello world activity, a new Kotlin file, and a new XML layout, just like the activity main that we have. So whenever we create a new activity, there will be one activity Kotlin file and one XML layout file. Okay, source language is Kotlin. Finish. Yeah, this is it. Okay, so if you now look at the folder structure, um, yeah. If you now look at the folder structure, then you will see the main activity, which was previously used. It is already there. Then you see the hello world activity, which I just added. I didn't do any edits there. It is the activity that I just added. That means I just added another screen here. And if you go to the resource folder, you will see something like layout. Inside the layout, there is activity underscore main, which was used previously just to add 3 buttons there. Then this is the hello world uh, activity underscore hello world is the new XML file that I just created. It is actually empty. It has a constraint layout at the root level. That's it. It doesn't have anything. I have to add the layout that we discussed earlier here. Okay. Okay. So this is actually the folder structure, and very important thing. There is something called Android manifest.xml. So this is the XML file that actually describes what is the app about, what are the contents of that app, and what are the other properties of the app. For example, if you install the app, then what should be the name of that app? So it is actually specified by the label. So there will be an application tab, which application tag, which actually describes about the application that we are developing. Then it will have a label which is actually displayed on the on the device. Let me show you. Study jam app should be somewhere here. Yeah, that this is it. The study jam app. This is the label that I specified here. Okay, and the round icon is specified here, and the round icon is actually specified here. Round icon is actually only for devices that are having round icon. My device is actually having round icons. So if you go to the drawables folder, then you can see the icon there. Yeah, these are actually defined as separate layers. If you go to the map, then you will see there. Yeah, these are the icons. So I'm actually specifying the icon in the manifest file and other theme parameters. So this theme is actually this theme is actually defined inside this um, values folder. Inside that there is theme folder, inside which you are seeing the theme. So since I have defined a theme here and applied to the applications, that's the only reason why you are seeing in this color, violet color, because this theme is actually defined here. You can see. So a new theme is defined. This is actually automatically generated when I created a project. So there is a color here, and these colors are applied. That's why you are seeing all buttons and every element in this particular color. Okay, so if you want to change that to a new color, you can just update this color and you can run it. That's it. Okay, then let's go back to the manifest file. And yeah, whether the app supports right to left text, right, for example Arabic or Hebrew text, which are right left, so that the back button will be placed on the right side of the device. And allow backup is actually whether the user should be allowed to backup the settings or other configurations of the app, so that when they are switching the device, or when they are reinstalling the app, they will be getting the settings back. So we can decide whether we have to allow that. That is not important now. So this file is actually very important, because this file is bundled along with the APK file that you are building. Okay, then when you are installing the app, and when you click on the app to open it, when you install the app, and when you click on the icon, Android will be looking for the manifest file inside the APK, and it will go through all the configurations there, and it will actually check for the intent filter there. So we have all the activities listed in that XML file. Okay, so let me just remove this code for now. Okay, so whenever we are adding a new screen, we have to list it in the manifest screen. Then only the Android device or Android operating system knows that this application contains this much screens. So whenever we add a new screen, we have to add it there. So I created a screen from the IDE. That's why it is already appearing here. If I am going to add this file manually myself, then I have to manually add this line myself. That's it. And now we have a hello world activity, which is this particular screen that I added. And we already have a main activity, which was already there when I created the project. And these are the two activities we have. Activity means pages or just screens, that's it. So we already have these two activities, and now Android operating system has to understand which activities to start. So that's why we have this particular thing here, intent filter. So whenever we specify this particular intent filter to an activity, that will be the first activity that gets started when you click on the app icon. So this is actually a predefined intent filter. It has to be, if I place this intent filter to the hello world activity, then that will be the activity get started at the first time when you click on the app icon. Okay, I will show you later. Let me keep it where it is. Okay, So this is actually a very important file to understand. Android manifest. It will contain all the app configurations and properties of the app, like a theme, colors, icons, label, and other properties like support, whether it supports right to left text. Then all the screens that we added, these things are actually managed by this Android manifest file. Okay. Yeah, now let's go back to the Hello World activity. Yeah, this is an activity with having this activity underscore hello underscore world as the layout. Now let's do one thing. Let's add, what are we going to add? Let's add edit text, a button, and a text view. Okay. Okay, let's add that. I'll keep it aside. Okay. Why the attribute window doesn't have anything? Okay, now I am going to add a plain text. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, this is where you type in your name. Okay. Now I am going to let me add the constraints. Otherwise, it will be placed in any random location. Yeah, it will be to the right, and this will be to the left. And on the top of this, I will add a margin of 32 or 64. Okay, yeah, and it is actually having some width. Let me check the width of this particular item. It is actually wrapping the content. So I can actually change the width as well. So this is the screen. Like 100 pixels on 100 pixels here. You can, if you look closer, you can see each and individual. So that is less dense. For some devices of the same size, it will be a more denser device, which will you cannot see the pixels, individual pixels in that case. So it's something like a 6-inch screen, which is having HD resolution versus full HD resolution. So in that case, the pixels count will be wrong, because 100 pixels in this device is not equivalent to 100 pixels in other device. So I can give 100 dp, so that 100 dp will be having same physical size on all devices. So in every Android device, the touchable area is considered to be 40 dp. So if you are adding something, then you have to add 40 dp size. 40 dp is actually the size that when you put your finger on screen, that area is 40 dp. That's it. Okay, so I'm giving, I can give 100 dp. I can give some other measurement, but I cannot ensure that there will be for some devices with where the width is less than 250 dp, then this will be actually overflowing. So I can give something else. I can give wrap content. If I give wrap content, in that case, it will actually wrap the contents. So if I'm having a lengthy name here, it will wrap and expand. Another option is to give match parent. So it will stretch to the parent. Parent is actually this particular root level constraint layout. Okay. So if I'm giving match parent, then there should be some margin here. Otherwise, it will be sticking to the edge of the screen. So let me add a margin to the left, margin start and end. Margin end should be 16 dp, and margin start should be 16 dp. Yeah, this is actually good. Now let me add one more thing there. Yeah, the text is there. Now I have to add a button here. Okay. From the palette, I'm adding a button here. Okay. And what is the greet user? That should be greet user. Yeah. So let me use the graphic editor itself to change it greet user. Yeah. Let me constrain it to the left and right. Yeah. And then let me attach to the bottom of that text. Okay. Now let's do one thing. So let me change the button ID. Okay. I'm going to change the button ID from the code itself. Button greet. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so this particular text is having edit text ID, is edit text person name. It was automatically generated. I didn't do that. Okay, now let's go and create one text. Okay, text view. Yeah, let me place the text view somewhere here. Let me change the hello guest. Okay, fine. Okay, now let me attach it to the right and left. Then to the top. Then there should be some spacing. There should be some spacing. Let me add the space there. To the top, I have to add some space. Let me add 64. Yeah, fine, that's fine. 64 dp is there. Then let me increase the size, text size. It should be somewhere here. Text size should be 24 dp, 24 sp. For fonts, you give sp. For our measurements, you give dp. SP is for scalable pixels. So fonts are actually scalable. Some users might set the font size as large in their device because of visibility problems there. They want to have large font size. So in that case, if we set as SP24 SP, if they are increasing the default font size on their device, this font size will also increase. Okay, let me change the text color. Oh, this is good. Okay. This is better. Okay. Yeah. Now the button has an ID button greet. This particular text has an ID text view. Let me change the ID to txt message. Okay. Yeah. Fantastic. Okay. Now let's see the code. I added a text view here. I added the ideas txt message with its wrap content. It can be match parent as well. No problem. So if you give match parent, it will be filling the entire stretch of the entire width of the parent. Then the text is actually left aligned. Okay, let me check how I can align that. Is there anything like text alignment? Yeah, it is there. Okay, this is fine. So text alignment is fine. Then I can center it. Then I add the margin top. Then everything is pretty much understandable, I think. Yeah. Now let's do this. Now this is the XML file. I have to bring this thing, this text box, edit text, this button and this text view into the layout, not the layout, the Kotlin code. Then I have to write the logic to get the data from here. When clicking on this button, I have to get the data from this particular edit text and display message here. Okay. Before that, in our design, actually, we are having a different thing. What's your name? It should be displayed as a hint. Okay. So let me change, let me add a hint here. Okay. This text can be removed. And hint, what's your name? Yeah, this is it. Okay. Now let's go back. Okay, now let's go back. So I have hello world activity now. So hello world activity has this particular UI design that we just did. Okay. So whenever you run the hello world activity, you will actually see this layout. So first let's run this activity. So now I have a main activity and a hello world activity. So from the main activity, I have to start this hello world activity. So for that, you have to write 2 lines of code. I will write that first and will explain you. Well, indent equal to indent is hello world activity class.java. Okay, and then I will write start activity indent. Yeah. So these are the 2 lines that I have to write to start a new activity. So hello world activity is the activity that I'm going to start. So first I have to write an indent. Indent is something like inside the indent we are giving a message like we have to start this particular screen, and we are passing that indent to the start activity function. Start activity is actually an existing function. Into that we have to pass an indent with the details of the activity that we are going to start, and we have to specify which activity, from which activity we are starting this. Okay, so this will be always this because it will be specifying the main activity itself. First parameter will be this all the time, and from the second parameter will be the next screen that we want to start. If I am having a third activity or movie recommendation activity, I can give that here, and then I call the start activity function. Okay, now let me run this function, run this code. Okay, okay, let me exit that. Let me exit that and start it fresh. And it is actually building. Building and running. And I'm going to click on the hello world button is having that set on click this one. Yeah. So now this is actually showing this second activity, the hello world activity. Next, this button doesn't have any action. Here I can actually type things, but it doesn't have any actions now as of now. But now we can add that action. Now let's see what will happen if I click back button. I will go back to the previous activity. That's it. Okay. Okay. Now let's go to the hello world activity now. Okay. Inside that, now just like we did previously, we have to collect the IDs of these XML elements, this edit text, this button, and this text view, and process it. So let me collect that now. Okay. Well, we have an edit text here. Well, edit equal to, or let me give it the name input. Input equal to find view by ID, which is an edit text, which is represented by the ID edit text person name. Okay. Well, then there is a button greet. I can give any name. It doesn't matter. It should be a meaningful name. That's it. Button dot ID dot button hello. It's not button hello world. If I write that, it will crash. It should be button greet, because button greet is the only button available in this particular layout. If I write a button hello world here, it will crash because the button hello world is not in this particular layout. It is in the previous layout. It is in the other XML file. Button greet val text or txt must, yeah, text is fine, equal to find view by id, text view dot id dot text message. Okay, now let's write the logic. Okay, when I'm clicking on that greet user button, when I'm clicking on this particular button, I have to collect the name from here, and if it is not empty, then we display the name here. Hello guest, hello Alice. Okay, btn dot set on click listener. First, let me get the value from this particular text. Okay, well, message, I'll now type equal to, this is actually referred as input dot text dot to string. Okay, now semicolon required. Now I have to check whether this is empty or not. Before that, let's assume that it is not empty for the time being, and just display that value in here. Hello guest. Okay, so we have to update this text field. Okay, this text view, which is represented by the id txt message, which is accessed using the variable text dot set text, text dot text equal to, the names are confusing, I will change the name, hello typed. Yeah, this is actually called string interpolation. You can give it like this, no problem, or you can give it something like this as well. Hello plus typed. This is actually Java thing, so that's why it is actually showing an error. In Java, you will write like this. In Kotlin, you can write like this. It is called text interpolation. Okay. This is a text view. Actually, you can change the name. It is actually confusing. I will change the name to something else. Greeting message view, text view. Yeah, this is better. I have to update the name here as well. So greeting message text view dot text equal to hello world. Okay, now let's run it. Is it running? Yeah, hello world example. I'm going to type Alice, and I'm going to click on that button, hello Alice. Okay, so this is it. What will happen if I clear the text? Hello, this thing. So I have to update that. If the user doesn't have a name, or the name is empty, then I have to say hello guest. So we can update the logic here. So this is the thing that we have to check. Okay, typed message that is actually collected from the input. So if type equal to null or typed is empty, then we can say else. Okay, if it is null, it will not be null. That's why it is highlighted. So if it is empty, then we can say hello guest. Otherwise, we can say hello name. Okay, now let's run it and see what is happening. Okay, now it's working. Okay, I'm making that an empty text. So that's it. So it is actually working now. So what if I want to change the color of this text? If that is a guest user, then I can change that color to something like red. Okay, greeting message text view dot color. Let me check if there is a color thing here. Text color. Oh, I have to check. Yeah. Color dot red. Yeah. Let me copy the same code here as well. Color dot green. Now let me run it. Okay, now the list is empty. The text is empty. I'm going to give the name Bob. Now the text is in green. This is actually not the green that I gave initially. It is a predefined green. Okay. Now again, I'm going to clear the text, and this is it. This is how I access the elements and modify elements. So that's it on this hello world example side. So so far any questions, then you can give it chat. I will check that and answer you. Okay. Yeah. Meanwhile, I will have a 2-minute break. Okay. If you have any questions, please enter. Somebody is saying that Prashant is having some doubt. Which software is needed? You actually need Android Studio. That's it. That's only required. Android Studio, and with Android Studio, you will get all the SDK and other files. It is actually a large installation. You can download Android Studio, which is around 400 or 500 MB. And when you install that, you have to have an internet connection. And at that time, it will actually download around 1 GB of data. So that's the software required. Yeah, somebody is asking which CPU do you have? So for Android development, I am actually using Core i3, 8th generation, and 20 GB of RAM. So Core i3 is actually enough, and minimum 16 GB is recommended. Otherwise, it will get slow. Okay, let's do let's continue. Then we will work on the calculator example now. We will add one more screen, a calculator activity, and we will add the calculator layout there. And in that, when you add the calculator layout, you will actually understand how constraint layout works. Okay. So okay, let's start. Let me close all these activities. Okay. Yeah, there is button hello, and there is a button calculator. So let me access that button here. Well, button calc equal to find view by ID. button add.id.calculator. Yeah. When I click on this particular button, I have to start the calculator screen. So let me add the click listener now. Set on click listener. Yeah, to do we have to start the calculator. Okay. Okay, now we have to add one more activity. So there's one main activity, which is this particular screen where we have a hello world activity, which is the screen that we display when we click on this particular button. Now let's start on hello world, I mean calculator screen. So from new, I'm actually adding an activity. From there, I will add empty activity. I will give calculator activity. Okay. Then I will get a layout activity underscore calculator. Okay. So now finish. Okay. Now, very easy to understand. You have a calculator activity here, calculator activity source file, a Kotlin file added here. You now have a layout activity underscore calculator with empty layout there. It's an empty layout. And if you look at the Android manifest file, you can see that the calculator activities are already added there. So if you haven't added this here, then the app will crash. That's it. So these things are actually done automatically. Yeah. So calculator activities there, hello world activities there, main activities there, and this particular filter is specifying that this is the main activity or the first activity to be started. Okay. Okay, now let's give some buttons here. So basically, you know the button layout of a calculator. So it is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, now let's start with the text view on the top. This is a display. Okay, let me stick it to the right and stick it to the top. And let me give a margin of 32 on the top, 16 on the left, 16 on the right, and let me change the width to match parent. Okay, I can change it from here or here as well. Okay, so I changed it from here, and I can change the text align. Previously I changed the text align from XML layout. Now I am changing it from here. Now I'm going to change the text size to 26 SP. It a large display. It can be bold, and the text color can be black. Okay. Yeah, fine. And I'm going to change the IDS TXT display because that is a display. Okay. No, this is actually the text. I'm going to display 0 there. And change the ID to TXT display. Yeah. Okay, fine. Now I can give a background color survey. Here's a background property. Okay. Now let's add some buttons. So normally the buttons will be like, so if you look at the calculator, so the buttons layouts are actually like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So this is actually a 9 by 9 button. 9 by 9 by no, not 9 by 9, 3 by 4. Okay. So let's follow this pattern. Okay, so I added a button here, and I'm going to give it it should be 7. So I'm going to make the ID as BTN7. Okay, and I'm going to change the number to 7. Okay, now that is good. And now what I am going to do is to change the width and height. Okay, and I'm going to change the height to 20 dp. Now 20 is too small. 60 dp. Okay, and the width to 60 dp as well. So calculator buttons are actually square buttons. Now I'm going to change the background color. Let me change the background color. Yeah, that is not applying here actually because of theme. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is, if you go to the code, you can actually see the styles that I applied. Let me increase the text size as well. Size. Let me give 20 dp. Yeah. Okay. Fine. Now I didn't add a constraint here. I will add that later. Okay. Now I'm going to make a copy of that particular button. It should be button 8, and the display should be button 8. Okay. And I'm going to place another button. You are not seeing the button because it is always placed on top of that button, existing button. Then 9. I'm going to change the button ID to 9. Okay. Now let's do one thing. Let's select all 3 buttons together and create a chain. So these buttons, so in component tree, you can actually see the trees, see the components that you have placed on the screen. For example, if you go to the main activity and look at the component tree, these are the buttons that you placed on the screen. So similarly here you can actually, the button 7 is actually not visible because it is under the 9 button. So but it is available here. So I am actually selecting all 3 buttons together, and I am going to create a chain, which is a horizontal chain. Yeah, this is it. And this is how we create a chain, and you can actually change the packing of that chain. So it can be packed. If you pack it, it will be aligned together. It will be packed together. If you change that to spread, it will be spread across the layout, or spread across the width. Okay. Now I have to repeat the same in the next row as well. Okay. And I have to constrain the top part somewhere. I'm actually putting that just below the display. And I'm going to add a margin on top, like 30. I will change that to 70. Okay. And I have to align this particular button like this. Okay. And this particular button should be aligned. This top should be aligned to the top of the 8 button. That's it. Okay. Now let's add more buttons there. Let's go to the code part. Okay. This is 4, 5, 6. Yeah, I added 3 buttons. This should be 4. This should be 5. This should be 6. Button 6. These are the IDs. Then I have to change the number what is being displayed. This is 4. This is 5. This is 6. Okay. Now I have to create a chain there as well. Yeah. I will select all these 3 together. I will create a chain, create a horizontal chain. Now that is spread across, and I have to align this to the top of this particular. Yeah. Somehow the chain is misbehaving. Let me check whether what is happening here. So this particular thing is actually, yeah, let me add a margin in top of that. Yeah, why this chain is happening, having some problem. Yeah, things are actually getting complicated. My chain is totally broken. Yeah, okay, now it's fine. Okay. So what happened was it was not aligned to the left or right side. Now it is chained to the right and left. It is actually working properly now. Yeah. Okay. Now I have to repeat the same for the next row as well. So for the time being, I'm not spending much time on that, because if I create a next chain, it will break again. I have to fix that. I will spend time on that. I don't want to waste time on that. Instead of that, I will work with this particular one. This calculator has only these much buttons. So let's assume like that. Okay. Yeah. So button 7, these are the IDs. Button 7, button 8, button 9, 4, 5, 6. These are the IDs there. Okay, let me copy paste it. Yeah. Okay, so let's bring that buttons here. Well, btn 4, 5, 6, 4. It's starting with 4, right? 4 equal to find view by ID. It's a button. Okay. Dot ID dot btn 4. Yeah, this has to be repeated 6 times. It's 5, it's 6, 7. Okay, now we have to get the display as well. We have to access the display as well. Display is having an ID text display, so let's get the display as well. Txt val txt display equal to find view by ID text view dot id dot txt display. Yeah, okay. Now let's do one thing. Let's create a val var here val for value cannot equal to 0. Okay, it should be an int. Yeah, why it is showing an error? It is already having something called result. The result value. Yeah, it's fine. Okay, now let's do one thing. I will quickly do btn 4 set on click listener. Inside that, I have to do this result value equal to result value into 10. That's a pretty normal thing that we do. Okay, 4, and we have to show the result text display dot text equal to result value. it has to be a string. Yeah, you cannot assign an integer to a text value. It will be that is a different thing. There is another context. Okay, now how to convert that into a string. So let me start this particular yeah, from the main activity I have to start the calculator. So I'm just copy pasting the same code here. It is the same code, nothing changes here. I have to update this class only, calculator activity. That's it. So button, when I click on the button calculator, it will start the calculator activity. Okay, let's start it. Let's see what is happening here. Okay. Okay, I'm clicking on the calculator button. Now on 4, it is actually, okay, no, this is actually integer overflow. Let's go back and come again. Okay, so that's it. Yeah, I think this, yeah, that was the maximum value of integer. Now when I multiplied that by 10, it actually overflowed. So let's not concentrate on to that particular problem now, because that is totally different. Okay, now let's do one thing. For the time being, let's add this for the 5 and 6 also. Okay, 5 and 6. Okay. It's applying changes and let's wait for the result. Yeah. Yeah, that's it. Now I have to add a plus button there. So I will add it somewhere below that. I'm not going to add it exactly in the exact position because it is going to consume some more time. So let's do one thing. Yeah, I will add that button somewhere here. I will give the name add or plus. btn plus is the ID that I'm going to give. Okay, and I'm going to make the size like it should be spreading across these two buttons. So I will give match constraints as the width property. Match, when I give 0 dp or match constraint, it will actually stick onto the constraints or that I gave. If I give it here, this will be the width. Okay, if I'm giving it here, this will be the width. Okay, now the top, I'm sticking to the button 4, giving 32. Okay, now let's add one more button. Now we have to manage some logic here. We have to store the button, store the value of first number and second number. We have to manage the logic. Let's figure out how we can do that. Okay. Yeah, and equal to. This should be btn equals. So we have two buttons now, btn equals and btn plus. Yeah, okay. While btn plus equal to find view by ID, btn plus while btn equals eq equal to find view by ID button dot id dot btn equals. We don't need semicolon here. I'm actually adding semicolon because recently I'm working on Dart. Dart is having semicolon. This doesn't have semicolon in Kotlin. So this is a muscle memory, like muscle memory. Okay. So where I will have two operands, to op1 equal to 0 and where op2 equal to 0, and I will add one flag there where is adding or is op2. This is a logic that I can think of currently. Okay, boolean equal to false. So this is what I am doing. Whenever I click on the plus button, I will set the value of op1 and I will actually then I will start displaying op2. I will assign I will update this flag. Let me figure out that. Okay, instead of result value, I'm going to have a different variable where input equal to 0. Or change that. Okay, let's change that. Okay, let me do one thing here. When I click on that, okay, before that I will do one thing. btn plus dot set on click listener. I will change that to is op2 equal to true. Okay, and btn equals set on click listener. I will display the sum as the text. Okay, op1 plus op2. Yeah, let me see what happens. Okay, so if op, when I click on that button, if that is op2, then let me add. This is actually, it can be done in a better way, but I cannot think of any currently now. Let me see what happens now. Okay, op2 equal to op2 into 10 plus 4. op2 here op1. So if I'm not operating on operand, if I'm not inputting operand 2, then I can work on operand 1. Yeah, let me see what happens here. Okay, let's forget about other buttons. Yeah, 5, 6. And let me run. If it is running properly, if it is working as expected, let me check. (44 plus 44 equals 88. Yeah, okay, it is working. Okay, good. So when I click on the button plus, I have to change the value of that text to 0. 0. Yeah. Okay, now let me run it. Now let's do one thing. Let's move this to a separate function so that we can call easily from other functions, other buttons. Okay. 44, 444 plus 4 equals 448. Yeah, that's actually working fine. Okay, now let's do one thing. Let's move this into a separate function. And the only thing changing here, this 4. So button 4, it should be 4. Yeah. So let's call something like add number 4. This should be the function. Okay. So let's add a function here. just below the onCreate function. So we were actually working on the onCreate function. So just below that, fun add number, and in as integer, and inside that we can do this, and we have to pass the text display as well. Okay, and we are going to change this to n. Yeah, okay. And we have to pass the text display here as well. Okay, now let's run it and see if it is working fine. Four plus 4 equal to, yeah, it's working. Now let's, since we changed that to a separate function, now it's pretty easy. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This can be 5. This can be 5, 6. This is button 7. Button 7. Now 8, 8, and 9. Okay. So now it should be working for all the buttons. Okay. Let's start it. Let's restart. Okay. 54 plus 45 should be 99. Yeah, that's working now. Okay, now as if that you are going to add more buttons here, you can simply you can add 1, 2, 3 just below that, and you can access the buttons 1, 2, 3 here, and just you can call this function add number 1, 2, 3. That's it, and it will start working. So that's it. We have to add a clear button somewhere here. Let me add that very quickly. Yeah, we'll clear everything in that case. We'll stick it to the right side of this button, and here we will stick it to here, and on top of that we will add 32, and we will name it as button clear. Okay, and we will change the text to clear. Okay, now when clicking on that clear button, the result should be clear, everything should be clear, we should be able to calculate again. Okay, now let's copy paste. Val btn clear equal to btn clear. Yeah, so let's add it somewhere here. Btn clear dot set on click listener. In that case, is op2 should be false, op1 should be 0. Everything is cleared. op2 is 0, and we are displaying the text as 0. Okay, now let's run it. Okay, 66 plus 55 equal to 121. Okay, clear it. 45 plus 68 equal to 113. Yeah, clear. Let me check what is happening when I click on the plus button again when the result is being displayed. 485 plus 5 equal to 490. If I click on the number, operand 2 is actually being displayed. Yeah. So that can be fixed actually. When you show the result by clicking on the equal button, you can actually clear the op1 and op2 values. So now actually you can clear op1 equal to 0, op2 equal to 0. There should be no semicolon. I am adding semicolon to every statement here. Okay, and is OP2, the flag should be reset to false. Okay, now let me start it. $77 plus 44 equal to 121. Now I am typing 88 plus 55 equal to 143. 45 plus 76 equal to 1. Is that correct? Okay, so that's it. So this is actually how you create a different layouts. In this particular case, you saw how you create chains. By chains, you can actually create spread your components across horizontally or vertically across the device. And chain is actually very useful because whenever you create items that has to be arranged in a neat manner, then chain is actually very helpful. So if you are going to add a new row here, 1, 2, 3, then you can use chain there. And if you go to the layout, in this particular layout, this has to be this particular button on the left side, it is constrained to the left one, and on the right side, it is actually constrained to the button 2. In some calculators, you will see the plus button is a little bit higher. Let me see if the button is available somewhere here. Yeah, this is what I'm talking about. So in this particular case, all these buttons are chained together horizontally. These are chained horizontally, these are chained horizontally. Only the color is different, that's it. In this particular, these buttons are the 1, 2, 3 is chained horizontally, and the 3 is actually linked to the 6, and 1 is actually linked to the 4. And in this particular case, there is no chaining required. You can actually create 0 and it is constrained to the left of 1. This particular case, 0 is right of 0 is constrained to the left of 1. In this particular case, dot is constrained both sides of 3. And this equal button is on top of the equal button is constrained to the 3, and bottom is constrained to the dot. That's it. And the left is actually constrained to the plus, right is constrained to the right of plus. So it is actually very easy to create layouts when you are using constraint layouts. If you have to use any other layouts like linear layouts, which was previously used, it is very tough to create layouts like this. Okay, so these are the things that I have to I wanted to do today. Yeah. So is there any questions? And the movie recommendation example that I will introduce tomorrow. In tomorrow's plan is to have a different layout. I will give you a glimpse of that. Yeah, tomorrow's plan is something like this. We will be having a screen like this is a screen that I designed for earlier app. So this is a screen that we'll have, and in this particular screen, this is a movie recommendation screen. Actually, we will add one more activity in this particular app, which will actually recommend a movie, random movie. So we'll be having a button somewhere over here, and when we click on that button, we will have a random movie details being displayed. So that is the plan for tomorrow. Okay, so in this particular case, you will learn how to create this particular layout. For example, you can split the layout like this, and you can decide which layout to use. You can make use of linear layout or constraint layout, things like that, and how to load random data, things like that. So that's what we are planning for tomorrow. Okay. So is there anything that you want to ask me? You can ask me. You can ask me in the chat or by voice. Okay. So that's it.
If the participants have any questions, please put your questions in the chat, or you can unmute yourselves and ask them. Okay, then I guess we'll wrap up the session today. So I thank you everyone for attending on behalf of DSC CET and DSC UCEK. I thank everyone who attended, and Vishnu sir, the session was great. So I hope everyone can make it for tomorrow, where we'll have the subsequent sessions where, as sir said, he'll be going through the movie recommendation project. So thank you everyone, and see you guys tomorrow.
Yeah, thanks Alex. Okay. Yeah.
Thanks.